Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So, topic we will discuss today it is electrolytic refining of metals. Basically, the metal that we obtained as a result of the metallurgy. It is mainly having some type of impurities in it. So, we have to refine that metal or we have to remove all the impurities from that metals. For this purpose, the metal just pass through the process which is known as the electrolytic process. And in electrolytic process, basically this is the refining process of eliminating all the impurities from the metals, and in order to have the high purity metals, and at the end the metal that we obtain it is 100% pure and can be used for further purposes that we obtain. So basically what does happen in this process? If we have a impure metal, the process which is known as the electrolysis process or electrolytic refining process is passed through, and at the end we gain the metal which is the pure metal. So now what does happen in this electrolytic process? Basically electricity is being passed through the electrodes, and the electrons move. The process of oxidation and reduction takes place, as a result of which the metal that we gain it will be in the pure form. And for this purpose we need a cell, which cell is called as electrolytic cell. So for the process of the electrolytic refining we need a cell which is called as electrolytic cell, and this cell is basically consisting of anode and cathode, as it is a complete setup for the electrolytic process. So let's have a look at how do we gain this. So here we have the process of electrolytic refining. For this purpose, we need a cell which is called as electrolytic cell, and this cell consisting of two electrodes. Now the one electrode having the charge positive or attached to the positive end of the battery. This end we call as anode, and the other part is attached to the negative end of the battery. This is called as cathode. So, electrolytic cell consisting of two electrodes, anode as well as cathode. And here the tank is filled with the electrolyte. Electrolyte is the substances that when are in the molten state or when we have their aqueous solution, they have the property to conduct the electricity. So here the electrolyte will be working as a conductor for this process. When we insert these two electrodes, now here the anode electrode is made up of basically the impure copper, and this electrode which is the cathode it is having pure copper. Now the process of oxidation and the process of reduction takes place when both the ends will be attached to the battery, and here we allow the electric current to pass, as a result of which the electrolysis will be started and the process of electrolysis will be start. Then the impure copper will be converted into the pure copper. In turn, the copper which is in the impure form it have the process of oxidation. On the other hand, where we have the pure copper, here the process of reduction will takes place. In this way we will gain the pure metal, or for example if we are having copper it will be 100% pure. Now this process basically takes place in an electrolytic tank. Now what does mean by the electrolytic tank? So this is basically the electrolytic tank, and you can see that we have attached the battery with the positive as well as the negative ends, where the negative end is called as the cathode end and the positive part is attached to the anode. Here you can see that this is basically the impure copper which is anode and attached to the end of the battery, and here this is the pure copper which is working as cathode. Now when we attach it to the battery, what just happened? Electrolyte that we have take over there, it is H2SO4 or sulfuric acid and the copper sulfate CuSO4. Now you can see that here this impure copper is started to cover up this pure copper electrodes, and now this is the deposits of the pure copper which we gain over the cathode, and at the down we gain the anode mud or the mud that was not in use, and anode has been eaten away. In this way, the process of oxidation as well as the process of reduction just takes place, and we gain the metal in pure form. So this was a simple process of electrolytic refining in which we need an electrolytic cell in the form of an electrolytic tank. Now there we have the flow sheet diagram for the extraction of the copper. That it is just the overview of the complete process, that how we can gain the pure copper. Basically, first of all, we have the crushed ore, and we have to remove the impurities. For this purpose, we done the concentration or the concentrated ore. How do we get? We get it by the fourth flotation process. We were also having the gravitation process, and we were also having the hand picking. So this was a simple concentration process. After the concentration of process, we have to remove the impurities. This process is basically known as the extraction of metals. Now, the extraction of metals is done in the three basic steps. The first one is the roasting, in which it has to be heated. After the gain of the roasted ore, which is having sulfides of the metals, it passed out through the smelting process, in which the ore is allowed to be melted, and we gain their smelted ore in the form of their sulfides, and the impurities are removed in the form of slag. Now, after the smelting process, we have the third step, which is besmerization, and at the end of the besmerization, we gain the copper, which is 98%, and it is known as the blister copper. After the gain of the blister process, we have the last one step, which is the electrolytic refining process. In this process, we gain the 99.9% pure copper that can be used for further purposes. So this is a simple overview for the extraction of the copper or extraction of the any other metal. I hope you guys understand, and if you have any queries, you may ask me about that in a comment section. The next topic that we will discuss, it is the solvase process. For that time, you guys keep learning and have a good day.